The convoy stretched across the black void like a fragile thread of light. Dozens of medical frigates, research vessels, and transport shuttles drifted in tight formation through the Vega system, their mission clear: deliver supplies and specialists to a newly founded colony, struggling with an unknown alien pathogen. They carried Earth's most brilliant healers, doctors, xenobiologists, trauma surgeons, each sworn to save lives, never take them. Among them was Dr. Mara Lin, a xenobiologist whose calm voice and sharp mind had saved countless lives on distant worlds. She stood in the command deck of the Seraphim, the convoy's lead vessel, watching the swirling nebula ahead. Her thoughts drifted to the patients waiting on Halloris Prime, hoping her team's arrival would turn the tide against the disease ravaging the colony. A gentle chime interrupted her reverie. A message blinked on the main console. Unidentified vessels detected, approaching fast, the sensor officer said, voice tight. Mara frowned. Show me. On the main view screen, jagged silhouettes appeared, sleek warships unlike any they had encountered before. Their design was cruel and alien, elongated hulls with sharp angular edges, painted in shifting dark camo that made them almost invisible against the nebula's shadows. Salvari warships, murmured Commander Rios, the convoy's military liaison. No distress signals, they're warships and they're coming in hot. Panic rippled through the crew. The convoy was no match for a fleet built for destruction. Their purpose was healing, not combat. Prepare for emergency protocols, Rios ordered. All non-essential personnel to safe zones. Mara felt a cold knot in her stomach. Why would they attack us? We're not armed. We're not a threat. No one knows, Rios said grimly. But I'll make sure they regret this. The first salvo hit without warning. Brilliant streaks of plasma tore through the convoy's formation, shattering the shields of the Luminary, a hospital frigate. Alarms blared as crew scrambled to contain fires. Mara could hear screams through the intercom, doctors pleading for evacuation, medics racing to triage wounded. Stay focused, Mara shouted, rushing to her team's medbay. We're healers, we save lives. But there were too many dying. A second blast hit the Seraphim directly, throwing Mara to the floor. The ship shook violently, lights flickering. The command deck, filled with acrid smoke. Mara coughed, struggling to stand. Damage report, Commander Rios barked through the chaos. Engines failing. Hull breach in sectors 4 and 7. The engineer answered. We're losing power fast. Signal the fleet for emergency retreat. No response, the sensor officer said. Communication systems are jammed. Mara's heart hammered as she looked out the shattered viewport. The Zalvari ships closed in, their energy weapons scorching the convoy's vessels one by one. Her datapad buzzed, an incoming message from a distant ship. It was garbled, but she made out one phrase. They attacked the healers. Who sent this? She asked. No idea, said the communications officer. But it's the last we'll hear from them. The bridge went dark as power flickered. Emergency lights cast deep red shadows. Through the haze, Mara spotted a small figure stagger into the room, a medic clutching a bloodied arm. They're boarding us, he gasped. They want us alive, something about experiments. Rios's jaw clenched. Get ready. If they want mercy, they won't find it here. Mara's mind raced. These were not just attacks. They were targeted strikes. Deliberate attempts to wipe out Earth's healers. The Seraphim's hull groaned under the pressure of explosives set by boarding teams. Mara grabbed a medical scanner, helping wounded crew to shelters while the ship's defenses crumbled. She glanced at the comms console, all transmissions cut. The last message she sent was short, desperate. This is Dr. Mara Lin of the Seraphim. We are under attack. They have targeted the healers of Earth. Request immediate assistance. No reply came. The ship's core reactors were unstable. Rios ordered the crew to abandon ship. Mara helped the last of the wounded into escape pods. As she boarded one herself, the Seraphim exploded in a blinding flash, lighting up the nebula like a dying star. Drifting alone in the darkness, Mara's datapad buzzed one final time. A single word appeared on the screen, chilling in its simplicity. Judgment. Back on Earth, the news broke. The galaxy's sanctuary, its home of healing, had been shattered. 10,000 innocents lost, including the brightest minds devoted to saving lives. But Earth's response was not one of tears or speeches. It was silence. Cold, calculated silence. Because when mercy is attacked, something awakens. The underground chamber hummed with quiet menace. Rows of hollow displays flickered to life, casting pale blue light on the hardened faces around the table. In the heart of Earth's United Directorate headquarters, the Black Rit Council gathered in secret, the highest decision-makers in a war that the public wasn't yet allowed to know about. Directorate Commander Elias Kane stood at the head of the room, his eyes hard as flint, his voice cut through the silence like a scalpel. They attacked our healers. 10,000 dead, thousands more missing, and they did it coldly, deliberately, without warning. The Zalvari fleet strike was not an act of war. They wanted to destroy what makes us human, our mercy. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. We must respond, but not with words, not with diplomats or fleets. We will answer with something they cannot ignore. From a concealed wall panel, a series of secure data files slid out onto the table, encrypted and classified above all other programs. One file was labeled simply, Reaper Protocols. The room stirred uneasily. Kane continued, For decades we've kept the Reapers locked away. Too dangerous, too unpredictable. Designed during the First Contact Wars as weapons of precision and terror, they were deactivated when peace became our priority. A hand raised. General Vasara, head of Earth's Special Forces. They're synthetic humans, aren't they? Enhanced beyond anything we currently deploy. More than that, Kane replied grimly. Cybernetic wetware hybrids. Programmed to hunt, dismantle, and destroy without hesitation or remorse. They do not negotiate. They do not hesitate. They end conflicts before they begin. A murmur ran through the room. The Reapers were the stuff of whispered legend and nightmares. Do we even know if they still function? Vasara asked. Last I heard, the tech is ancient, outdated. Kane's eyes glinted. We have recent reports. Last-generation prototypes. Fully operational. Their AI core has evolved. They're faster, smarter, and even more ruthless, and right now 10 of them are en route to the Vega system. The room went deadly silent. What is our objective? Asked Ambassador Mira, the civilian voice in the council. To dismantle the Zalvari military infrastructure piece by piece, Kane said. No civilians, no collateral damage, surgical strikes, and to find the true architect of the attack on our healers. Mira nodded slowly, though her unease showed. And if this escalates into full-scale war, then the Reapers will end? Before it starts, Kane replied. Because mercy without power is weakness, and we will not be weak. Elsewhere, in a stark, windowless chamber deep underground, the first of the Reapers powered up. The machine before them was more than a weapon. It was a fusion of man and machine, flesh and steel, programmed to think beyond human limits. Its blackened armor shimmered under sterile lights, joints flexing with uncanny fluidity. This one was designated Reaper 01, call sign Grim. A soft hum filled the room as neural interfaces synced. The Reaper's ocular sensors flickered alive, glowing faintly red. Protocol initialized came the cold, modulated voice from within. Objective: eliminate Zalvari military assets connected to the attack on Earth's medical convoy. Prioritize capture of command nodes. Minimize casualties. Behind the control panel, Dr. Salini Rao, chief engineer of the Reaper project, watched with a mixture of pride and dread. They are not human, yet they carry the weight of humanity's fury, she murmured to her assistant. We built monsters to protect peace, the assistant replied. Is that a paradox? Celine shook her head. No, it's survival. The first deployment was swift and merciless. In the shadowed asteroid belt near Vega, the Reaper squad moved like ghosts. They disabled Zalvari sensor arrays with pinpoint laser strikes before slipping through defense grids. Command vessels were infiltrated and destroyed from within. Systems crashed, crews eliminated in silent precision. Not once did a Reaper kill a civilian or damage a habitat dome. Their targets were soldiers, warships, and military infrastructure, but their presence sent shockwaves across the Zalvari leadership. "How did Earth respond so fast?" snarled General Karash, the Zalvari fleet commander. "Rumors say something new," growled his aide. "They call them Reapers, legends from Earth's dark past." Karash's claws clenched. "Then we will kill their mercy by striking deeper." Back on Earth, news feeds were eerily quiet. The public saw only routine broadcasts, memorials for the dead healers, hopeful reports on the Haloris Prime colony. But beneath that calm, preparations accelerated. Reaper deployments grew. Commander Kane stood in his office, staring out over the sprawling cityscape. His phone buzzed. "Report," he said sharply. "Reaper Squad Alpha eliminated 3 Zalvari frigates and disrupted their comm nodes," the voice on the line said. "No human casualties, they're proving efficient." Kane allowed himself a thin smile. "Good. Send the rest. Let them know Earth's mercy is not weakness. It is a promise. Attack us, and you will answer to the Reapers." The galaxy watched, tense and uncertain, because when the healers of Earth are attacked, the universe learns a new truth. Mercy is only the beginning. And the Reapers, they are the end. The cold void of space was shattered by sudden, eerie silence. Across the Vega system's outer rim, the Zalvari military command sat in uneasy vigilance. The heavy warships, once roaring with life, were now shadows in orbit, their communication arrays dark and cold. No transmissions, no battle signals, only a growing dread. In the command bridge of the flagship Vorkath, Commander Kajal paced with sharp, clawed fingers twitching nervously. "What is our status?" he demanded, eyes darting to the sensor officer. "Commander, several outposts have reported sudden loss of command signals. Fleet vessels are disappearing without a trace." Kajal's mouth twisted. "Disappearing? That's impossible." The screen flickered, showing grainy images of a battle station on a small asteroid, obliterated. No scorch marks, no debris fields. Just gone. A voice whispered from the comm panel. "They are ghosts." "Ghosts?" The commander repeated, incredulous. "Yes, the enemy speaks of Reapers, faceless hunters who disable entire installations within minutes, silent, unseen, and unstoppable." Kajal slammed a fist on the console. "This is an ambush. Prepare countermeasures, deploy scouts. We will find these ghosts and burn them from the stars." Across the system, far from the Zalvari's clutches, the Reapers moved with chilling precision. Reaper 03, call sign Shade, drifted through the dark corridors of a commandeered space station, her movements fluid and soundless. Her helmet's internal HUD scanned for hostiles, relaying data to the squad. The cold artificial mind behind the visor registered no emotion, only purpose. Target acquired, a command relay crucial to the Zalvari's fleet coordination. With a calculated pulse, from her arm-mounted disruptor, the relay's systems went dark. Surveillance cameras blinked off. Communication lines went silent. Within minutes, the station's military command crew was neutralized, captured for interrogation or eliminated where necessary. Every action was surgical. No collateral damage was tolerated. As the squad withdrew, Shade transmitted a terse message back to Earth Command: "Mission complete. Target neutralized. No civilian casualties." The effects rippled through the Zalvari ranks like a virus. Fear took root. In the common areas of their fleet, whispers of the Reapers spread, ghostly predators that struck without warning, impossible to track or predict. Some soldiers claimed to hear voices in the dark, voices promising death. Others spoke of shadowy figures slipping through airlocks or disabling weapons systems with a touch. Captain Tharal, a veteran fighter pilot, confided, in his squadron, "The Reapers don't fight with weapons. They fight with fear. And fear is the deadliest enemy." On Earth, the United Earth Directorate's command center buzzed with cold efficiency. Live feeds from Reaper squads streamed in, drones capturing every silent strike, every dismantled Zalvari stronghold. Analysts sifted through data, piecing together enemy vulnerabilities. Commander Kane watched the operations unfold, a grim satisfaction settling over him. The Reapers were not just weapons, they were a message. Across the Galactic broadcast networks, a single phrase began to circulate. We attacked the healers of Earth. Now the Reapers will come for you. But amidst the strategic victories, cracks appeared. In a hidden Zalvari research facility, a high-ranking officer studied grainy surveillance footage of the Reapers. He pointed at a faint shimmer on the screen. They move too fast, too precise. How do they know our system so well? He asked. A subordinate answered. Our analysts believe Earth's Reapers have access to our internal comm frequencies. Possibly from a leak or infiltration. The officer's eyes narrowed. Then the war is no longer just physical. It's in our data, our minds. Back on the front lines, Reaper 07, callsign Whisper, led a reconnaissance mission near a contested mining colony. The Reaper moved through abandoned corridors, the faint hum of damaged machinery the only sound. Suddenly, an alert flared on her visor. Intrusion detected. She froze. The source. A sophisticated cyber attack attempting to override her neural interface. Whisper executed an emergency countermeasure severing the link. Her systems blinked, signaling a temporary shutdown in non-critical functions. Despite the attack, she completed her mission, scanning for hidden weapon caches and vital intel. When Whisper returned to Earth, technicians discovered something chilling. Her neural systems had been compromised, partially rewritten by an unknown adversary. Dr. Celine Rao reviewed the data with growing concern. Someone knows how to hack the Reapers, she told Commander Kane. They've adapted. This changes everything. Kane's face hardened. Then we must adapt faster. As the war between Earth's Reapers and the Zalvari escalated, the galaxy began to whisper new legends, not of the warships or the political machinations, but of the Reapers themselves, invisible, inescapable, ghosts of war who answered mercy's call with ruthless justice. The cold, sterile interrogation chamber was illuminated by a single overhead light. Commander Veshk, a captured Zalvari warlord, sat restrained in a reinforced chair. His scaled hands clenched the armrests, eyes blazing with defiance. Across from him, Dr. Mara Lin, recovered but scarred, studied him with weary determination. The healer's convoy might have been destroyed, but Mara had survived, and now she sought answers. We know it wasn't your fleet alone, Mara said quietly. Someone ordered the attack on the healers. Someone who wanted to ignite war between Earth and the Zalvari. Veshk's jaw tightened. A lie. We attacked only because your healers were spies and saboteurs. We struck first to defend our people. False, Mara replied. Your commander's fleet was confused, caught off guard. This was orchestrated. Behind the glass, Earth's intelligence analysts monitored the session. An encrypted data feed pulsed on the screen, revealing intercepted transmissions from the day of the attack, coded messages from a human corporate logo linked to a shadowy faction. Commander Kane entered the room silently, his presence commanding. We've traced the strike order to a covert Earth organization operating outside government control. They profit from war. They don't want peace. They want chaos. Veshk's eyes flickered with reluctant interest. You speak of traitors in your own ranks? Kane nodded grimly. Yes. People who weaponize conflict for profit. The healers were collateral damage, pawns in a larger game. Mara clenched her fists. We were sent to save lives, not to become victims of a puppet war. Elsewhere, Whisper sat in the diagnostic bay, her neural interface being carefully examined by Dr. Celine Rao. We've identified traces of foreign code embedded deep within her systems, Celine explained to Kane. It's sophisticated, designed to hijack her programming. Someone is developing countermeasures specifically against the Reapers. Kane's expression hardened. This isn't just a war between species anymore. It's a war between factions, between those who want to protect life and those who seek to destroy it for gain. Suddenly, an alert blared. A new data stream emerged, captured comm chatter from a secret meeting on Earth's orbiting corporate station Zephyr 9. The conversation was chilling. "We need to escalate the conflict," a cold voice said. "More attacks on both sides. It's the only way to drive demand for our arms and biotech contracts." Another voice responded, "The Reapers are too effective. We need to find a way to neutralize them, or turn them against the Directorate." Kane's jaw clenched. "We've been betrayed." The revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's command. The Council convened an emergency session. Security was tightened. Investigations began into the shadow faction known as the Black Serpent Consortium, a rogue alliance of war profiteers, corrupt politicians, and mercenaries operating in the galactic underworld. Mara was summoned to testify, her voice steady but full of resolve. "We were attacked because we represented hope. The consortium fears hope. They thrive on fear and death." Kane laid out a new directive. The Reapers will no longer only target the Zalvari military. They will root out the consortium's agents, expose their networks, and dismantle their operations on Earth and across the galaxy. Meanwhile, in the dark corridors of Zephyr 9, the Black Serpent Consortium's leaders met in shadowed conference rooms, unaware of the Reapers closing in. Their spokesperson, a woman known only as Silence, stared coldly at a hollow map of galactic trade routes and military installations. "We've played the puppeteers well," she said, "but Earth's Reapers have changed the game. It's time to escalate our plans, no matter the cost." One of her lieutenants frowned. "What of Whisper? Our attack on her neural systems failed, but she survived. She may be the key to stopping us." Silence smiled thinly. "Then we will turn her, or destroy her, whatever it takes." Back on Earth, the lines between friend and foe blurred. Mara and Kane shared a moment of grim understanding. "The war has become something else," Mara said quietly. "It's no longer just Earth versus the Zalvari. It's Earth against itself." Kane nodded. "But as long as the Reapers walk the shadows, there is hope." Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, and somewhere in the darkness, the Reapers prepared for their deadliest mission yet, to hunt the hunters and bring judgment to those who betrayed mercy itself. The steel corridors of the United Earth Directorate's secure facility echoed with hurried footsteps and whispered commands. A breach had been detected. Someone inside the Directorate itself was leaking information. Someone close enough to sabotage the Reapers. Commander Elias Kane stood beside Dr. Mara Lynn, watching live feeds from security cameras across the sprawling complex. A figure slipped through a restricted zone, avoiding patrols with practiced ease. The cameras barely caught the shadow's face, but Kane's jaw tightened. "We're bleeding from the inside," he muttered. Mara nodded. "The Black Serpent Consortium's reach runs deep. Their agents are not just in the outer colonies, they're here in our homes." The secure door slid open, and Lieutenant Aaron Vallis entered, face flushed with urgency. "Commander, we traced the data leak to a communications specialist, Cadet Leon Merrick. She has access to Reaper protocols and mission logs." Kane's eyes narrowed. "Bring her in." Minutes later, Leon sat in the interrogation chamber. Her hands trembled, but her gaze was steady. "I didn't want to betray Earth," she said quietly. "But they threatened my family on Haloris Prime. The consortium has eyes everywhere." Mara's voice was gentle but firm. "We can protect your family, but we need the truth. How deep does this go?" Leon swallowed. "There's a sleeper cell inside the Directorate. They're planning to hijack the Reaper's AI and use them against Earth's own forces, and the Zalvari, to escalate the war." Kane's face darkened. "A weapon turned against its makers. We must act swiftly." Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, the Zephyr 9 station pulsed with covert activity. Silence, the consortium's enigmatic leader, observed a holographic battlefield simulation. Their plan to control the Reaper's AI had advanced further than anyone suspected. "Our operatives have embedded code deep inside the Reaper network," she said, voice icy. "Soon, we will have control over the Reapers. We will unleash chaos and profit from the ashes." Her lieutenant hesitated. "But what of Whisper, the Reaper who survived our neural attack?" Silence's eyes gleamed. She is key. Either we corrupt her, or destroy her before she alerts the Directorate. Back on Earth, Dr. Selena Rao and her team worked frantically to isolate the corrupted code infecting Whisper's systems. The Reaper sat in diagnostic stasis, her sleek armor inert but her neural core alive and fighting. We need to rebuild her mind piece by piece, Selene said. But if the Consortium's code spreads to the other Reapers, we'll lose control of the entire fleet. Commander Kane paced the room. Then Whisper must awaken, and fast. The awakening was nothing short of a storm. Whisper's ocular sensors flickered on, scanning the room with heightened awareness. She spoke, voice low and mechanical. System integrity compromised. Attempted neural override detected. Countermeasures active. Selene breathed a sigh of relief. You're back. Whisper's visor dimmed briefly as if processing memories. Then her voice held something new, a trace of defiance. Locate Consortium operatives. Neutralize threat. Kane stepped forward. Welcome back, Whisper. We have a mission for you. The mission was a deadly descent into the Consortium's heart. Whisper led a covert strike team aboard Zephyr 9. They moved like shadows through the station's labyrinthine passages, evading traps and cutting communication lines. But the Consortium was ready. Automated turrets sprang to life and mercenaries poured into the corridors. The strike team fought fiercely, laser fire lighting the dark halls, the Reaper's precision turning the tide. In the station's command core, Silence watched the battle unfold, her fingers tapping a sleek control panel. Activate the override. Sequence, she commanded. If we cannot control the Reapers, we will destroy them. Amid the chaos, Whisper confronted Silence face to face. The woman smiled coldly. You were a mistake, Reaper. A glitch in our perfect plan. Whisper's response was a calculated strike, disabling Silence's weapon with a pulse of electromagnetic energy. Your war ends here, Whisper said, voice unwavering. As Silence reached for a concealed device, Mara and Kane arrived, sealing the chamber. No more shadows, Kane declared. Only justice. The battle over Zephyr 9 ended with the Consortium's network shattered, and their plans exposed to the galaxy. The sleeper cells within Earth's Directorate were purged, but the war was far from over. Whisper, now fully restored and battle-hardened, stood alongside Mara and Kane as they gazed into the stars, the Iram. Reapers were born of mercy, Mara said softly, and when mercy is betrayed, it becomes vengeance. Kane nodded. We will fight, not just for Earth, but for every corner of the galaxy where hope still shines. And somewhere in the darkness, new enemies stirred. The war had only just begun. The aftermath of the Zephyr 9 assault left scars deeper than any battlefield wound. Though the Black Serpent Consortium had been dealt a crippling blow, their reach still lingered like a dark stain on Earth's political and military structures. Commander Elias Kane stood before the United Earth Directorate's High Council, his eyes sharp and unwavering. The Consortium's agents are embedded in every level of our government, he warned. Our enemies are not only beyond our atmosphere, they are within. The council murmured uneasily, some faces etched with fear, others with calculated concern. Dr. Mara Lin, standing beside Kane, added quietly, We must cleanse ourselves if we are to stand united. If not, this war will consume us from within. Meanwhile, aboard the Ardent Star, the flagship of the Earth fleet, whispers of treachery churned like a storm in the crew's quarters. Lieutenant Aaron Vallis sat with a group of trusted officers, their voices hushed but urgent. The Consortium's sleeper cells haven't all been found, Aaron said. We've intercepted communications, coded messages hidden in routine fleet broadcasts. Who could still be loyal to them? Another officer asked. More than we think, Aaron replied grimly. And they have one goal, to hijack the Reapers, turn them into weapons of total destruction, against us, the Zalvari, or anyone who stands in their way. Back on Earth, Whisper's presence became a symbol of resilience, but even she bore the marks of war, neural scars from the Consortium's hacking attempt, a cold reminder that her mind was a battleground. Dr. Celine, Rao worked tirelessly to reinforce Whisper's systems with new safeguards, weaving layers of encryption and adaptive firewalls. "You're the key to this war, Whisper," Celine said gently. "But even you are vulnerable." Whisper's voice, calm and resolute, responded, "Vulnerability is human. I am learning." Celine smiled faintly, a rare warmth in the sterile lab. "And that is what makes you truly powerful." The war in the Vega system simmered beneath a fragile ceasefire. Both Earth and the Zalvari rebuilt their fleets, wary of each other, and of the unseen threat lurking among them. Zalvari Commander Kajal convened a council aboard his flagship, the Vorkath. "We face a greater enemy than Earth's forces," he stated. "The Black Serpent Consortium manipulates both sides, feeding this conflict for their gain." His second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named Teris, growled, "Then we must consider an alliance. If we do not, this war will destroy us all." Kajal hesitated but nodded slowly. "Contact Kane. Propose a truce. For now." Back on Earth, the proposal of peace was met with skepticism. Kane and Mara debated the risks. "Can we trust them?" Mara asked. "The Zalvari have a long history of conflict with us. Neither side can afford another enemy right now," Kane replied. "If we do not unite, the consortium will win by default." As tentative peace talks began in the neutral sector of Sigma Prime, Whisper and a small escort team were assigned a critical mission to uncover the consortium's remaining cells scattered across key colonies and outposts. Their first target was a mining colony on the fringes of known space, where reports of sabotage and unexplained power failures had alarmed Earth's intelligence. The colony was eerily silent when Whisper arrived. Her sensors picked up faint energy signatures, active but dormant. Moving through the shadows, she discovered a hidden cache of consortium weapons and encrypted data drives. Suddenly, an ambush. From the darkened tunnels, consortium mercenaries emerged, their weapons blazing. Whisper moved with lethal grace, neutralizing threats with non-lethal precision when possible, lethal when necessary. During the fight, she detected an unusual energy pulse, a prototype device designed to override Reaper AI. After the battle, Whisper transmitted a distress signal. "Back to Earth Command. We have a new weapon against us," she reported. "The consortium is escalating." Kane received the message and clenched his fists. "We're running out of time," he said. "Prepare for full-scale countermeasures." The peace talks on Sigma Prime were interrupted by the revelation. Delegates from Earth and the Zalvari exchanged wary glances as Kane presented the evidence. "The consortium threatens us all," he warned. "We must unite or be destroyed." Commander Kajal's voice was grim but resolute. "For the sake of our peoples, I agree. Let this war end." But even as alliances formed and old wounds began to heal, the consortium's shadow remained, whispering betrayal, sowing chaos and preparing for the moment when mercy would become vengeance once more. The uneasy alliance between Earth and the Zalvari hung by a thread, fragile and taut. At Sigma Prime, the peace talks dragged on, but beneath the diplomatic veneer, suspicion simmered. Both sides knew the consortium had not vanished. They were lurking, striking from the shadows, waiting to fracture the fragile unity. Commander Elias Kane stood in the observation deck of the Earth flagship Ardent Star, staring into the swirling gas clouds of a nearby nebula. Beside him, Commander Kajal of the Zalvari fleet approached silently. "Your people are wary of us," Kane said without turning, "and I can't blame them." Kajal's eyes were hard but honest. "Trust is earned, Commander. This alliance is our only hope. For now." Kane nodded, then turned. "For now." Back on Earth, the Reapers prepared for what would become their most dangerous mission yet. Whisper paced the dimly lit command center, neural systems humming softly. Beneath her armor, the new weapon the consortium had deployed, the AI override device, had been tested and refined. The implications were terrifying. Entire Reaper units could be turned against their own forces. Dr. Celine Rao worked feverishly to develop countermeasures, But time was running out. "We can't build safeguards fast enough," Celine warned. "If even one Reaper is compromised, the entire fleet could collapse." Kane's face was grim. "Then we have no choice but to strike at the consortium's heart." The target was Obsidian Reach, a hidden stronghold on the asteroid colony Veritas 7, deep in neutral space. The combined Earth-Zalvari strike fleet, assembled in orbit, a breathtaking display of firepower and resolve. Warships hummed with readiness, fighters lined up like swarming hornets. Whisper led the ground assault team, her senses heightened, every step calculated. Inside Veritas 7's cavernous mining tunnels, consortium operatives scrambled to activate their defenses. Automated turrets and energy shields sprang to life, but the Reapers moved like shadows, silent, deadly, unstoppable. Deep within the stronghold, Kane and Kajal led their forces toward the core control chamber. The consortium's leaders, including Silence, had fortified themselves behind layers of defenses and mercenaries. As the battle raged, Kane caught sight of a familiar face, Leon Merrick, the cadet who had betrayed Earth's secrets but turned to aid the Reapers. "Leon," Kane called out, "why are you here?" Leon's expression was conflicted. "To end this, Commander. The consortium promised me safety for my family, but they lied. I want to make it right." Kane nodded. "Then fight with us." In the command chamber, Silence activated the override. Sequence for the Reaper AI, her fingers flying over holographic controls. "Soon they will turn on each other," she sneered. "This war will consume them all." But Whisper infiltrated the chamber, her armored form a blur. With a precise pulse, she disrupted the override. "No," Silence hissed, drawing a concealed weapon. Whisper's response was swift and decisive, disarming her and delivering the cold judgment of a Reaper. Outside, the battle reached a fever. Pitch Dagajal's forces held the perimeter against waves of consortium reinforcements. Kane coordinated fleet maneuvers, blasting enemy ships into debris. Amid the chaos, a new threat emerged, a rogue Reaper unit, hijacked by the consortium's code rampaging through the battlefield. Whisper confronted it, their battle a brutal dance of technology and willpower. Sparks flew as their weapons clashed. With a final decisive strike, Whisper disabled the rogue unit's neural core, ending the threat. The consortium's stronghold was shattered, their network of control destroyed. In the aftermath, as dawn broke, over Veritas 7, Kane, Mara, and Kajal stood together amidst the ruins. "We have won this battle," Kane said, "but the war for peace has just begun." Mara nodded, eyes bright with hope. "Mercy may be betrayed, but it is not lost." Kajal's voice was resolute. "Together, we will rebuild." But far from the battlefield, a shadow lingered. Silence, bruised but alive, whispered into a secure calm. "This is not the end. The Reapers will fall. The consortium will rise again." The war was far from over. The stars above Veritas 7 gleamed cold and indifferent as the dust of battle settled. The shattered remnants of the Black Serpent Consortium's stronghold smoldered in the dim light of the distant sun, a graveyard of greed and betrayal. Commander Elias Kane stood on the scorched surface, flanked by Dr. Mara Lin and Commander Kajal. The uneasy alliance forged in war now stood as the last beacon of hope for a fractured galaxy. "The consortium is broken," Kane said, voice steady but tired. "But their shadow still lingers. There are others like them, others who profit from conflict." Mara's gaze swept the horizon. "Then we remain vigilant. The Reapers will be the shield, the sword, and the mercy this galaxy needs." Back aboard the Ardent Star, Whisper systems hummed with renewed clarity. The scars from the consortium's attacks were healing, her neural core fortified by Dr. Celine Rao's tireless efforts. Whisper stood before Kane and Mara, her voice calm yet resolute. "The war tested us all," she said, "but mercy will always be our legacy." Kane nodded. "You've saved more lives than any fleet or weapon ever could." The victory at Veritas 7 sent shockwaves through the galaxy. With the consortium exposed and its networks dismantled, peace talks gained momentum. Earth and the Zalvari deepened their alliance, rebuilding trust through shared purpose and sacrifice. At the Peace Summit on Sigma Prime, Kane addressed a crowd of delegates. This war was born of betrayal and greed, he declared, but it will end with unity and hope. Commander Kajal stood beside him, a silent testament to a future once thought impossible. But peace was fragile. In the shadows of a forgotten star system, Silence, leader of the consortium, breathed her last words into a hidden comm unit. "They may have won this battle," she whispered. "But the war for control of the Reapers and the galaxy has only begun." Her voice faded into the void as unknown forces closed in. In the final moments of calm, Kane reflected on the journey. From the attack on the healers to the Reapers, Rise, humanity had faced darkness and emerged stronger, but he knew this was not the end. "The Reapers are more than machines," Mara said softly beside him. "They carry the weight of mercy and judgment, and that balance must never be broken." Kane looked up at the stars, the vast unknown ahead. "Then we'll be ready," he said. The galaxy was watching, waiting, and when the next shadow fell, the Reapers would rise once more. For justice, for mercy, for the future of all. The end.